What's going on, everybody? Mortem here, this time bringing you my first impressions of Lionheart, Legacy of the Crusaders. So, a little bit of background here. Lionheart was actually the last game published by Black Isle Studios. Black Isle Studios was, of course, shut down by its parent company, Interplay, which is pretty common knowledge, especially of the people who watch my videos, as I cover a lot of the older CRPGs that company made. Now, that said, I did say that Black Isle Studios published this game. The developer was actually Reflexive Entertainment. Now, Reflexive Entertainment is also no more. However, they got bought up by Amazon and were eventually merged into Amazon Games, formerly known as Amazon Game Studios. But I tell you all that basically to mention that my knowledge of Lionheart is mostly through the grapevine stuff. I had never actually played it personally, though I had heard some things simply by being kind of in that space in terms of video games. But while Black Isle Studios is known for a ton of incredibly well-remembered games, Lionheart less so. So Lionheart takes place in an alternative history, which during the Crusades, a sort of magical catastrophe happened that allowed magic into the real world, and the game itself takes place in 1588. Now, this event kind of reminds me of the conjunction of spheres from The Witcher, because basically spirits and things were able to come into the real world, which resulted in demons, which then formed the Inquisitions of this world, which basically fought back against demons, magic, and basically just everything that wasn't natural to the world. Now, magic especially, because even the people who weren't necessarily using this magic to do bad things were still persecuted by the Inquisition. People, everyday people, acquired magic by spirits bonding to them. So spirits would bond to people in order to have some agency in the world, because the spirits by themselves couldn't really do anything. So they would bond with a human being, thus granting that human magic. However, this also lent itself to darker arts, and this is how we got the demons and things. So overall, a fairly interesting introduction to a game as far as plot setups go. So my first impression there is that I, generally speaking, like the story arc that they're going for. But the other two things that I wanted to talk about in this video, since it's not like a full-blown review or anything, is that for starters, what I did not realize about this game is that it just straight up uses the Fallout special system for its character creation. Now, in this game, you can play as either a human pureblood, which is just a human, or you can play a human who has mixed with the magical races and things that came through with the magical event that happened. So in addition to picking one of those, again, you just use Fallout's special system. And in addition to this, they brought over the perks and the traits, so building a character in this game is very similar to building a character in Fallout, especially the earlier two. Now, despite that, and creating a character in that way, combat in this game feels very much so like an ARPG. It's real-time with pause, technically, but the way you select your skills and you attack is basically just like hack and slash early ARPG stuff, because while you do get companions, they're AI controlled. You're really just worried about you, most of your skills and things, you're hitting with hotbars. So just right there, the game is kind of this weird blend of a bunch of concepts from other games that I had seen. That's kind of my first impressions of it, really, is just that it's seemingly a bit of a hodgepodge of Black Isle Studios' other games that I have seen from them, which is interesting. Now, I'm going to play through this game, make a review like I normally do. However, I am aware, or at least I have heard, that the game kind of falls apart after the first few hours. And while this isn't something I've experienced personally, and I'm going to obviously check it out for myself, what I have in my head going into this is that apparently where Black Isle Studios was about to be shut down, etc., that they were pushing to get this game out, that basically the last half of this game just becomes just a full-blown ARPG, basically. Whereas the early game is more focused around quests and talking and, solving things in classic CRPG fashion. So I'm kind of curious to see how that winds up playing out, because Lionheart, while, it has its place, is definitely not as well remembered as many of the other games that Black Isle put out. There you go, guys. My first impressions of Lionheart. Hope you guys enjoyed the video. If you did, please remember to like, comment, subscribe, all that YouTube jazz. May you wander in wisdom and have an amazing day.